All right, so welcome back. I've got another pen video for you today, pen-related video. I thought it might be kind of interesting to start kind of on a weekly, maybe bi-weekly basis, going over what I keep in my pen case, because it tends to change from week to week as I do different things and have different needs as far as what pens I'm carrying with me. Just realized I need a drink of water. I'll do that real quick. For anyone who's curious, the water bottle I'm currently using is the A6 Memo bottle. Found this company pretty recently. Decided to pick up one of their bottles. I like them a lot. This is, I think, my new favorite water bottle of any of the bottles I've ever owned. This is, as you can see, it's about the size of your hand. For men's pants, this will actually fit in most of your back pockets if you need to carry it around for refilling. I found that to be very useful. Particularly in the office I work at, it's nice that I can sort of go to the bathroom with this in my back pocket and then fill it up on the way back instead of having to make 2 trips. I don't know, I just feel a little awkward about leaving my bottle sitting around in the bathroom while I'm actually using the restroom. I'm sure that's a perfectly normal thing to do, but I don't know, it just weirds me out. So I really like that this one is rectangular, fits down in your bag next to your books. So I can use the exterior water bottle pocket on my backpack for my umbrella, which I prefer to have exterior to the rest of the bag in case I use it and get it wet and need to put it back in its pocket if it stops raining. So yeah, these guys are definitely worth checking out. I really like their stuff. They have a really nice charity with, I believe it's water.org, where they basically match all their proceeds in donations to water.org. Anyway, onto the pen case. I'll talk more about that in the video where I go over kind of how I pack my bag for different things later. So this is the pen case I'm currently using. This is from Lihit Labs, or Lihit, I don't know, it's L-I-H-I-T. It's a Chinese company, I believe. This is the ACT single pen case. You can see smart to fit for all active action. That's where the ACT comes from. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense in English, but still kind of charming. I believe this is made of polyester. Can't remember exactly, but it's got, a nice texture on the front, fairly durable material from what I could tell. Given that you're just going to be carrying pens in this, it doesn't need to be like aerospace grade ripstop nylon or any of that kind of stuff that a lot of these companies kind of advertise now. I got this in the yellow-green color just because I like the kind of muted green look. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's in here. So for this first video, let's go over what I usually carry in here. So on this side, this doesn't really change. I've got a small memo pad, which is what I actually use to keep my daily to-do list in order. I keep it in here just because it was kind of a perfect fit for this pocket here. This is just a cheap 88-cent memo pad from Walmart. You can see I've got, what's nice about this actually is I can, on this side I have my daily task organization. So I've got the 3 things I need to do for work each day at the top, and then 2 kind of personal or house organization things, and then just some additional short tasks here. Things that should only take between 5 to 15 minutes, that kind of thing. On the other side, so for each day you have the tasks, but then the way this works when it's flipped over on the other side, I just have space for random notes. So I don't know, I think it's actually a really good way to keep your daily tasks organized. I'll slide that back in here. Down here I have what I call my focus pad. I use this when I'm working to help keep myself focused. So I'll just write down the tasks that I'm currently, like literally what I'm actually doing right now. And then I usually just put that somewhere above my keyboard. It's just the right size to kind of sit neatly between my laptop keyboard and the screen without taking up space on either. And the bright color is good because it kind of draws my attention down. So whenever I start to get distracted, it's I just have what task I'm supposed to be doing right there, so I never get too far off task. And then I just have some data transfer, a USB 3.0 drive that I use to keep my data synced between my home and work computers. I do use the cloud for data storage, but my work computer doesn't sync very easily with the cloud, so I found that it's just easier to keep track of things using this flash drive here. These things can be a little bit difficult to get back in there with the pointiness of the sticky notes, but not that big a deal. Usually not taking it in and out too many times during the day. There's another pocket here, which I actually just leave empty. When there's pens in the top pocket here, this pocket actually gets fairly tight, and not too much will fit down in there. So usually I'll just use it for little scraps of paper. If I have a note that I need to keep or a receipt or something, I'll just slide it down in there. Right now it's empty. So to the main event, what is currently in my pen case? So a couple of the things that generally don't leave the case much is I do keep a mechanical pencil on one side in the event that I need a pencil. So right now I'm carrying the Zebra Delgard break-proof mechanical pencil. This one has a really interesting system in the top where if you extend the lead, you'll notice it's got these two springs. So essentially what it's doing is one spring, when you push down, let me see if I can get a better notepad here. Push down on the lead, you'll notice that it retracts into the body to keep it from breaking. So even if you do this at an angle, if you put too much pressure on the lead, it retracts back into the tube. But if you are just writing lightly, it functions like normal. Then it's also got this other spring up front that's kind of absorbing the side-to-side motion of the lead. So this lead is very difficult to break. I've tried, as long as you don't have it extended too far. I think they say it's good for up to 3 clicks from the, let's see if I can get it to focus here. Up to 3 clicks from nothing, it'll be more or less impossible to break. I'm sure you could, but just under normal use, it won't be breaking like most mechanical pencils would. So that's the Zebra Delgard. I have it here in white. It also comes in blue and black, I believe. I just like the white. You don't see writing utensils in that kind of sharp white much. So just working left to right, I have a purple Pilot G2 here. I actually picked this up recently because I've never been a big fan of the G2. I know a lot of people like this because they write really well, but there's something about the design of it that I find sort of ugly. I don't find the grip particularly good looking, and I think the clip is like this weird and blobby looking thing. I don't know, I've just always thought that these pens look kind of ugly, so I've never really been a big fan of wanting to use them. But as I've gotten deeper into the kind of pen and everyday carry community, a lot of people seem to really like these pens, so I decided to pick one up and see what all the rage was about. It does write really well, I will give it that credit. I don't know, I just don't think there's anything all that special about this pen in general. But I have been using it the past week in combination with this one, which I'll get to in a minute. So I'll bring this one back up after the next pen. So this is currently the only fountain pen in my case right now. I've picked up a sort of small collection of kind of beginner or inexpensive fountain pens lately. But in the interest of actually trying to use any of them with any regularity, I've decided just to focus in on this one for the next few weeks. So this is a Kaweco Perkeo fountain pen. It's just made of all plastic. I got it in I think it was light spring color is what they call it. It's kind of this gray body with this yellow cap, and then the yellow accents around the section. It's just very simple, very pleasant fountain pen to use. I find the size of the body to be just right for writing for extended periods. The cap does post very well here. It's just a very straightforward fountain pen, and I like using it. I went ahead and I have some Pilot Namiki black ink in it. I've got a piston converter in here now. I was just originally using the blue cartridge that it came with, but decided halfway through that I was tired of waiting for it to run out, because those cartridges really last a lot longer than they look like they will. And switched over to the converter with some Pilot Namiki ink. Just to do a quick writing sample of that. So this is the Perkeo. With Pilot Namiki black. Relatively quick drying. It is a fairly wet ink, which is actually good with this pen, I think. Just with the cartridge, the nib tended to be a little bit scratchy. This ink made it smoother. I am enjoying it. One issue I've been having is you'll notice here on the tines, I get a lot of the ink kind of seeping up through the front of the tines here. I use my middle finger to point. I've got a little cut on my left finger. That's the only issue I've been having. It's not a real problem. It's just, you know, I clean it off, and then every time I uncap the pen, it seems like there's kind of a little pool of ink around the tines. Maybe it's a little bit hard to see with my, there we go. So if anybody knows how to fix that, let me know. So we'll go and recap that. And like I said, you know, relatively fast drying, no problems there with that. So back to the case. Next, I have a Dr. Grip gel, again from Pilot. So when I was in, I think 3rd and 4th grade, I mean, all through elementary school, pens were a big deal, especially in the mid to late 90s when I was growing up. The kind of like personal tech revolution hadn't really happened yet. So for us as kids, pens and pencils were kind of the things that we used as our status symbols. And when I was in sometime, I think, like I said, around 3rd, 4th, maybe even 5th grade, the Pilot Dr. Grip ballpoint pen was the grail pen for everybody. If you had a Dr. Grip, you were something else. And so I started seeing these in stores again now that I'm kind of paying attention to the pen market again. And I decided that I had to pick one up for old time's sake. So this is actually the Pilot Dr. Grip. I think they call it the limited version. So this is their gel pen. This actually uses the exact same refill as the Pilot G2. It's just a black refill. One thing I did notice too is that the grip on the section here is a little bit shorter than their ballpoint pen. So on the ballpoint pen, I remember it, you know, coming way up here. But for the gel, I don't know, I guess they figured this was going to be more of a adult use pen. And sorry, my rabbit is chewing at something. Made it a little bit shorter, a little bit sleeker, a little bit more business looking. Has a pretty satisfying click, I think. Writes really well. One issue I do have with this pen is that it kind of blobs up when you draw long lines, which I actually do a lot because I'm usually drawing diagrams and stuff. It'll blob up, so the next time you write with it, it leaves this huge spot of ink that will dry up and will absorb into the paper. It just takes a little while, so you have to be extra cognizant of that when you're writing with this pen and with the Pilot G2. I think that's just a function of their G2 refill. Sorry, having to shoo the rabbit away from this section of the carpet that she wants to chew on. Stop. All right. Where was I? Yeah, talking about the blobbiness. The reason that I like this one though is that because the body is a little bit wider, it's better for long-term use. So if I want to write with a gel pen, having something that's a little bit thicker and does have this nice grip, it's not really squishy, but it does have kind of this rubber texture that is much nicer in the hand, keeps it from slipping around, especially as your hand warms up while you're writing a lot. One thing I also like about this one is it has this nice big point section. I tend to choke up a lot on my pens when I'm writing, and so being able to change my hand position when it starts to get uncomfortable is nice here, because I can hold it with the grip for light writing, and then, you know, when my hand starts to get tired, you can choke up and get a different position there. And there's still plenty to grab onto at the front. Now, like I said, the reason why I've been carrying this one so much lately is because I've been using this one, and I'm using this one for my research work. And there's a lot of times when I'm working on research stuff and I will be writing something, diagramming something, and I'll need to point out or make a note in a different color, which is why I have this purple here. And you'll see that they do stand out pretty well against each other. A lot of times with black and purple ink, that's not the case. With these two, it does work. So this is the Pilot Dr. Grip gel, and then say I want to make a note here on this one. I'll put an asterisk here and then say, you know, pretty great for the money. Maybe it doesn't show up as well in camera. In person, the purple and the black differ pretty significantly. And the reason I also like this G2 is that it uses kind of more of a, it's not like a true violet, it's a little bit darker. So if you did want to just write some notes in this, it's not going to be like, you know, you're not writing with lavender ink that's hard to read or anything. So that's the Pilots. Back to the pen case. Next we have the Sharpie Rollerball pen. I actually really like this pen a lot. It's great for writing, but what I really like about it is that it has this needle point. And lately I've been having to do a lot of diagrams, like I said, for my research work, and this works really well with the ruler for drawing straight lines. Doesn't leave too much ink on the ruler, very easy to get up next to it. So usually what I'll do is I'll use the rollerball to make whatever grid or pattern I need on the paper, and then I'll switch back over to my Dr. Grip for actually writing. This one is just really good for marking the paper. This one tends to stay in my pen case for that reason. It does see some time outside of it here and there, but this is a pretty standard element in the pen case. The reason why I like this pen case too, just to get back to that for a minute, is that it is sort of small. It can only hold about 6 pens, depending on the size of each pen. But I find that to be actually nice, because I'm not carrying around my entire pen collection with me. In my sort of slim backpack, it's hard to fit large pouches. So this kind of is useful because it's helps me focus more on what task I'm actually trying to get done when I go out, because I can only load it up with so much, especially considering that I've always got there's usually 3 things that don't really leave the pen case. So last, but certainly not least, I have my Zebra F701. This I think is just a really good all-use work pen. This is ballpoint. It has a 0.8 millimeter tip, which I find to be a pretty good size for daily use. So if you need to write a little bit smaller, this one's perfect, because it writes fairly thin. So this is the Zebra F701. It's all metal. It's really good for just taking out and laying on the desk. It doesn't tend to roll around a lot. It has this knurled grip. So it's not bad if you want to write for long periods, but I have found that sometimes the knurled grip starts to irritate not this finger, but this finger underneath. You know, I've got this writing callus from years and years of writing, and I find that this knurling actually rubs against that sometimes in a way that is a little bit unpleasant if I'm using it for extended periods. But just for a pen to have on your desk for taking quick notes, this one is pretty great, I think. So I carry this one around with me because I don't like to carry it in my pocket. It's a little bit heavy for that. My go-to pocket pen is actually the Fisher Bullet because it's nice and durable. I've actually got it right here. I have the one in the chrome finish. This is my go-to pocket pen. This one stays in my pocket at all times. Sometimes I will clip my Parker Jotter onto the right pocket. I carry this in my left pocket so that I have two options. Parker Jotter writes in blue too, so that's nice. But I find this one to be a little bit too heavy to be carrying around clipped to my pocket all day long. But it's perfect for the pen case. So that's what's currently in my pen case. Next videos of this will be a little bit shorter, I imagine, because I don't have to do all the introduction to the actual pen case, and I won't ramble about a water bottle and a rabbit. Let's see if I can remember the order I had these in. Not any particular reason. I just kind of like to have a plastic pen in between the metal pens. Only got one all metal pen this time. That's the Zebra F701 over here, but I do carry some other metal pens, and I like to keep plastic ones between it just so that they don't scrape up against each other. So that's what's currently in the pen case. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.